five. I thought this was one of the shining moments, specifically Kane with his try, Roger with their try, showing both their unique kind of skill set, the strengths of their game. What did you make of the back five? It seemed as though they had a really big night in attack, specifically the wingers and Chance. We talked about Chance getting those numbers back up. I think he found his streak. What do you attribute that to? And what's your thoughts on the back five performance?
Yeah, strong, really, really strong. I think Roger's been really strong for us since the start of the season. It's something that I really enjoyed. I think it's great to have him on that wing, a very experienced member, but he's doing all the stuff that Roger does really well, especially the work from the back end, getting us into really good field position. Tane, bro, like his ability for such a small body to slither in between tackles, but even when he gets hit at times, he doesn't really feel them as big as what I expect for a small body. Like I feel like early in his career, every time he used to get hit, he used to get monstered. Now he just takes contact so well, and it's just how smart he is as a football player, showing the footy around, but like Houdiniing people. It's great to see. Ali getting over that beautiful try, that beautiful line that he ran off Luke Metcalf, and that showing his ability as well. And he's got so much future. And Adam Pompey just continuing to be that constant mainstay, just a very consistent member, a good member, just does his job. And having that late moment with that try assist to Roger, just that real late flick pass there to Roger to score that try. I think they all had their moments and all played really, really well in their moments. Tane, I feel like just played with a ton of energy, and I think it bodes well for, when Dallin does come back, and this has come from a CNK fan, right? And I not think I think that the chat around CNK has been a bit harsh lately, but he'll be fighting for that fullback jersey for sure with what he's showing this season. He looks like he's taking another step in his development, which is so great to see.
Yeah, I was impressed with them. And again, it all comes back to the middles doing their part, but everyone chipping in. I thought they found their fronts a lot, him and Roger, Tane and Roger. Everyone got their noses through and worked hard. And I just thought it was real cool of them to kind of, I suppose, I thought they got out-muscled. Definitely, everyone got out-muscled against Canberra. But this showed, mate, we're a team that can be dynamic. I know we're asking for dynamic players at times, but what you saw from the wings was individualism can work in the system. And the way they approached both of their tries, cutting on the inside, and then, Tane put his body on the line. He said to Jazz and what's his name?
Paseka,
try your best tackle. Yeah, Paseka, try your best tackle. I'm going straight through here. You can do your best, but I'm not going to be stopped. And it was just like, bro, that's hard, and that's a footy player, So, but yeah, Ali was 100%. Great too. His try. Everyone, I thought they were good too defensively. Those two, and their kind of timings and their work. So no, it was very, very good. Very good to see.
100%. 100%.
Just quickly on this, Josh saying Rocco has to slide back into the side, right? He's way too good for Cup on Friday. Just quickly, your thoughts on Rocco. How far off do you think? And actually, I was thinking about this, and we've talked about it. We'll get to it actually in the analysis. But where does he fit in? Does he take out Ali's spot? And does Ali take out Pompey's? And what's the chain reaction to all of Rocco coming back into it? Just quickly.
Yeah, 100%, bro. By the looks of it, at the moment, he's named in New South Wales Cup, because I did see him in the reserves, and we'll talk about the team list. And I was like, could we see Rocco back this week? But I think that Pompey's obviously showed some good performances, to start the year, right? So I think we'll hold on to him until Rocco's ready to go, fit and raring to go. I think it was one of his better performances in New South Wales Cup last week to show that he is getting close. I think when it does come time, it will come time. That I believe that he'll come into that right side spot. He'll take that spot back again, because I think that from all the times I've seen Rocco, he preferably likes to play on that right hand side with his right hand carry, that left hand fend. He's got a beautiful flick pass on that side.
Yeah.
Beautiful hands on that side as well. And I think his defensive shoulder, he prefers to defend, with his left side shoulder in the inside. So Ali can play on both sides. So I think he'll go to the left, and Pompey unfortunately be the one to drop out. But that's not on Pompey. I think Pompey's a great member of our squad, that he can fill in these roles left, right, and center. And you know, Webby does trust in him to put him in a lineup and he'll do a job. But that's the way I would look at it. And I do think it will come time soon. I think obviously we're just kind of easing him back and getting some real like minutes in his legs before he gets back into first grade.
Yeah, and just on Strictly's point here about Dom Young in the air, I think Tane's coming up against Tupou. Well, Tupou's good in the air too.
Agreed.
But definitely provides some protection for Tane. I reckon. Would you say the same? Just kind of getting Ali in spots to kind of shadow those runs a bit for if Tane does get targeted.
That's where footy IQ comes into it, guys. Like, I know that obviously you give away a penalty if you run in front of the line of the player, but if you get yourself set in a space around Tane and kind of shelter Tane from that oncoming threat of it will be Daniel Tupou on that side, that's going to be tough. You know, we saw in Vegas where I did believe that Hudson Young and that had kind of a free line for CNK for that try that they had. We just need to try and get bodies around and make it really hard for Daniel Tupou to get at Tane. But I think Tane will do a great job there in that area. It shows that he can use his body in the air fairly well. It's still going to be a tough task because you got a guy that's 6'4", can get in the air. He's got beautiful hands. So I think that the best way we're going to help him get bodies in front of Daniel Tupou. Buzzman,
appreciate this comment. We're going to touch on this, and it kind of we got some some really good feedback from ex NRL player on the situation. So just wait, we're going to get there pretty soon, but appreciate that. We'll address that. Tans, I think it's Tane versus Tupou because Dom Young's on the right side, so it'll be Roger versus Dom Young. Yeah,
agreed.
Okay, so let's get now into the halves. I thought this was probably one of their best game. They've only had really two games together. But like I thought Metcalf played a great game. CHT played a great game as well. Everyone did their jobs, and I think with everyone doing their jobs, the responsibility was spread well. I thought CHT kicked well, and then Metcalf, they would chop and change in a natural way, a way that felt like it wasn't forced. So do you think they're starting to click, or is this more of a just are they starting to click, and what are the signs of that maybe? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I'm still obviously kind of I understand this is probably going to be very up and down early on in the season because they are going to take time to really mesh. It did show a lot of moments in that Manly game that they did come together, but there was also some moments where some attack stagnated and it did look a little bit clunky as well. I love that they became a run threat more than anything. That was my big worry. Obviously, Chanel Harris-Tavita, he's one of those players. He's such a big body. When he turns to run first, he can be hard to handle. And you know, we all know what Luke Metcalf can do with his speed in a round. So it really comes down to Wade Egan and how he helps out that spine and really get him in areas to where, like, you know, if they do need to pass, they can. But if they have a run first sort of mentality, I feel like they will come together a lot easier. I think there's signs definitely for them to click. I like that they were very patient in the game to where they turned their edge back rolls under like the system, and they just built like their momentum throughout the game, and they didn't really throw anything that was too risky in the moments, but also had a couple of ones where it went our way. Like, you know, the Ali Letai short ball, that was beautiful, very crispy. You know, the play that they had together where Chanel got over for his first try. I thought that Sam ran through fairly well. So there is good moments there. But as young halves usually are, and at times there can be just next week, it could be a little bit less, you know, cohesive, but it will take a little bit more time before we see a really great performance from both of them.
If you're thinking of it in baby steps and little micro growths, what would you like to see from the halves this week in terms of an improvement area or something to work on?
Yeah, probably be more fluidity in our shape in moments, right? I do feel like there was a couple of moments where it did become clunky. And I think that was more of the fact of whether we're still trying to figure out timing and stuff. What helps with that is definitely how we did it over the weekend. We're turning our edge back rollers back under. It's not so much of like, you know, our timing and like our edge back roller hitting hard lines outside of Luke and him trying to really strip on edges. I think that's the next level of Luke Metcalf's game, is to where like he can do kind of like we did in the Melbourne game in a way where he can play, you know, that edge out really well, get deep into the line and play out of the back. I feel like that will come over time because that right side at moments did get cold other than than that Ali Leotor try. So I do think on Luke Metcalf's part, more of just a better cohesive shape on his side and to play that out. But that's going to take time for me. So I'm just waiting a little bit before I see that. Chanel, pretty much, this is kind of what I want to see from Chanel is like, I want him to play second fiddle and just help out where he needs to with Metcalf. And I think that plays to his ability as well. He's not really a type of guy that's going to be like a Cody Walker, you know, real deep in the line, beautiful ball playing every time. But he could be a guy like not say Cameron Munster, but like in that mold of he's just going to make something happen out of nowhere, and just like Chanel kind of does. So I think that's where we can see growth in both those boys.
Yeah, I'm really, I'm the similar thing to you, just a bit more fluidity. I actually like the kicking game from a base, from a yardage kicking. It seemed really good. Like the bombs were really on point. We got a drop from Lehigh. The pressure seemed relatively good. So that's a real benefit of having both of them. I felt they both had turns. They said, oh, well, we're going to pressure Lehigh for a little bit. Or we'll switch it back to Saab. We'll go, and they kind of picked their moments really well. I thought, I felt as though the fifth tackle kicks were a lot more clearer and finished product.
Agreed.
And both of their positioning. So that was really good to see. But yeah, totally. I just want them to have a little bit more fluidity and sharpness. And yeah, like you said, working that right side with Metcalf would be nice as well. So, but yeah, I just think what we said, and I know I've always said 12 weeks up to middle of the, I think I still stand by that, that they both need that time. And hopefully people have seen some of those green shoots and them starting to gel, and that they will get that time now. Whereas before it felt like people were asking for TMM, and we love TMM. We both, we've argued for him as well. But, let these guys have their run. That's all we're trying to say.
And I think a major key member of that is Wade Egan. I think that he helped them out so much over the weekend and allowed them to grow. I kind of said it in our WhatsApp chat, guys. If you guys are members, jump into our WhatsApp chat. It's great for all that information, just like our second game thoughts, our after game thoughts and that. But not to say, wait, I'm not going to, like, obviously, I would like to preface before I say things like this, but Wade Egan can play that Cam Smith role, and I'd love for him to do so in a way where Cam later on with the Melbourne Storm, he controlled a lot of the attacking shape of Melbourne, right? He was the dictator. And then having Cam Munster and Jerome Hughes playing off the back of him, they could be a little bit more run first sort of halves. And I feel like that's the best way we can see this gel overall is off of Wade Egan. So I'd love to see, obviously, Wade go for a great game over the weekend, played amazingly. Did look like, he was very aggressive in his defense, but I'd love for him to take the Cameron Smith mindset in defense just to hit your catch and wrestle, but you use everything for your attack and help these halves get through the game. And I think that's what's going to help these boys grow into great halves later on in the future. It's Wade Egan's work right now.
Yeah, no, good shouts. Let's go